The House adopted the report of the Committee of the Whole on the bill on Thursday, 24th February 2022. I therefore move, we will call on the leader to move that the bill be read the third time.
Mr. Speaker and my colleagues, I move that the bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Sports, Apulze, Edo State, to make comprehensive provision for the due management and administration and for related matters, HB 628, be read for the third time. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Deputy Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Kiruka Onyegeorge. I represent the good people of Isukwatu Federal Constituency, and from Abia State, I rise to second that the bill be read the third time. I so second.
Those in favor that the bill be read the third time, say aye. Against, say nay. That's have it. Clerk is invited to read the alternative of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to establish Federal University of Sports, Apulze, Edo State, to make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration and for related matters. Third reading.
Bill read the third time and passed. My respected colleagues, the seventh order of the day is the third reading of bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal University of Technology, Okija, Anambra State, for the promotion and development of technical education in Nigeria, and make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration and for related matters standing in the name of the House Leader. All members will recall that the House adopted the report of the Committee of the Whole on the bill on Thursday, 24th February 2022. I therefore call on the Leader of the House to move that the bill be read the third time.
Mr. Speaker and my dear colleagues, once again, I'm Comrade Peter Ahmyozude Apatasin, member representing Akoko Edo Federal Constituency. I'm from Edo State. I rise to move for a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal University of Technology, Okija, Anambra State, for the promotion and development of technical education in Nigeria, and make comprehensive provision for its due management and administration and for related matters. HB 1043 be read for the third time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Minority Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Gideon Goni. I come from Kaduna State and I represent Kaura Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I rise to second the motion that the said bill be read a third time. I so second.
My respected colleagues, the question now is that the bill be read the third time. Those in favor say aye. Against, say nay. That's have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to provide for establishment of Federal University of Technology, Okija, Anambra State, for the promotion and the development of technical education in Nigeria, and make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration and for related matters. Third reading.
Bill read the third time and pass. Chairman rules.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I am Abubakar Sanfulata. I represent the new Akrika, son of the Federal Constitution, Mr. Speaker. I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I rise to humbly urge the House to kindly rescind its earlier decision of stepping down item number 1 on the order paper to allow Honorable Isiaka present the report on the Conference Committee on the Nigerian Postal Services Act Repeal and Amendment Bill. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm Representative Olanrewaju Edo, representing all the people of Abeokuta South Federal Constituency. I hereby seem to second the motion that we suspend the House rules so that it to submit the report. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against, say nay. That's have it. Respected colleagues, The next business of the day is presentation of a report of the Conference Committee on a bill for an act.
You have to move, you have to allow him to lay the report.
That's what I'm trying to do. I have to move from here before he can come up. Thank you. You have forgotten the procedures. The next business of the day is presentation of a report of the Conference Committee on a bill for an act to repeal the Nigerian Postal Service Act, Cap N127 Laws of Federation of Nigeria 2004, and establish the Nigerian Postal Commission to make comprehensive provision for the development and regulation of postal services and related matters, standing in the honor of Obusiaka Ibrahim. Honorable Ibrahim is invited to move the motion.
Thank you very much. I own the DRS quintessential speaker with substantial values. Distinguished honorable members, due respect and apologies for the earlier mix-up. I'm Honorable Rep. Ibrahim Ayokunle Isiaka. I speak for and on behalf of the good people and highly enterprising individuals for Ewikro Federal Constituency. I'm from Ogun State. I move that the report of the Conference Committee on the Nigerian Postal Service Act, Repeal and Enactment Bill 2022, that the House do receive the report of the Conference Committee on the Bill for an act to repeal the Nigerian Postal Service Act, Cap 127, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and establish the Nigerian Postal Service Commission to make comprehensive provisions for the development and regulation of postal services and for related matters. I so move, distinguished honorable members, Speaker, to allow me to submit this report. Thank you very much.
Ibonyi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my respected colleagues. My name is Honorable Ayo Edwin. I represent the good people of Ezano Tishelu Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Oyo State. I rise to second that this report be presented to the House. I so second. Thank you.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. Honorable Saka, go ahead and lay a report. Respected colleagues, the eighth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to amend the Orthopedic Hospitals Management Board Act Cap 010 Laws of Federation of Nigeria 2004 to establish the Orthopedic Hospital Dekina, Kogi State, and for related matters standing in the name of the House Leader. All members would call that the bill was transmitted from the Senate, seeking concurrence of the House and read the first time on Tuesday, 29 September 2021. I now invite the House Leader to move that the bill be read the second time.
Honorable Speaker, dear colleagues, Comrade Peter of Northern Partisan MNI, Deputy Leader of the House, I move that a bill for an act to amend the Orthopedic Hospital Management Board Act, Cap 010 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 204, to establish the Orthopedic Hospital Dekina, Kogi State, and for related matters, HB 1468, be read for the second time. I so move.
Seconder, Minority Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Gideon Gwani. I come from Kaduna State. I represent Kaura Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion that the said bill read by the Leader of the House be read a second time. So second.
Respected colleagues, the question now that the bill be read the second time. Those in favor say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to amend the Orthopedic Hospitals Management Board Act, CAP 010, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to establish the Orthopedic Hospital, the Kenya, Kogi State, and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to Committee of the Whole. My respected colleagues, the ninth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to repeal the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority Act and transfer the assets and liabilities of the ministry to the Ministry of Finance, Incorporated, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Oluwole. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Wednesday, 15 December 2021. I now invite Honorable K to move that the bill be read the second time.
Thank you, my leader, the Right Honorable Speaker, my fellow colleagues. I am Oluwole Oke. I represent the entire people of Ijesha North, comprising Obokun Oriade. I'm from Osun State, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, may I move that a bill for an act to repeal the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority Act and transfer the assets and liabilities to the Ministry of Finance, Incorporated, and for related matters. For second reading, I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Maki.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My honorable colleagues, I'm Abubakar Maki Eleman. I'm from Jigawa State. I represent Malamudori Kaugama Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I raise to second a bill for an act to repeal the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority Act and transfer the assets and liabilities to the Ministry of Finance, Incorporated, and for the related matters, HB 1781, will be read for the second time. I so second, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Okay, lead the debate.
Thank you, my leader, Mr. Speaker. My fellow colleagues, Section 4 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria confer powers and authorities to this parliament to make laws. Mr. Speaker, sir, this parliament, through its activities, conducts oversight, parliamentary sittings. The takeaway from these activities, Mr. Speaker, are that we're able to review, evaluate the workings of our Constitution, acts of the Parliament, and relevant statutes. And through these activities, Mr. Speaker, we're able to find out the legality of some of our actions or inactions. Mr. Speaker, a few days ago, my leader, Honorable Manguno here, moved a motion, and that motion succeeded, that various agencies of government are performing similar functions. Hence, we have this bogus cost of governance. And the House resolved that these very agencies be investigated. And we can also take a look at the Orosonya report, which the federal government is currently, operating, implementing. Mr. Speaker, I bring before this parliament one of our decisions in 2011 to set up a body called the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority to, among others things, manage, save resources for Nigeria. Some of these functions are already being performed by Central Bank of Nigeria. Aside that, Mr. Speaker, the point I'm making today, which I want the Parliament to look at, is whether this decision of ours to set up this body conform with Section 162 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, one of the windows with which the parliament can correct itself is to repeal or amend an existing act. And that's why I've come before this parliament today, because of various judgments the state government have won in the Supreme Court, where the funds that ought to go to your local government, my state, your state, is being spent by a body that is unknown to the Constitution, Mr. Speaker. I want us to read Section 162 of the Constitution vis-a-vis the act we passed to set up this body. Mr. Speaker, so my prayer before this parliament, sir, is that this bill be allowed to sail through to the second reading so that we can carry out a very comprehensive work, invite members of the public to see whether this body does not contravene Section 162 of the Constitution. This is my intention, Mr. Speaker, and I seek your support to allow this bill see the light of the day, go for a second reading, and so move. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Jima Abdurrahim Olajide. I represent Lagos Mainland Federal Constituency, Lagos State. Mr. Speaker, I want to join Honorable Wale Oke, who is the principal mover of this bill. And as we are considering the second reading today, I think it is of necessity to repeal and amend accordingly. Having listened to him, we are repealing in order to make transfer of this fund from this authority to Finance Incorporated, which is very important by law. Legal is legality. If we do that today, Parliament, as we are considering Section 162 vis-a-vis the NSIA, which was the original law in place, I think it will go well. Mr. Speaker, therefore, support wholeheartedly, and I will just go ahead. Thank you.
Chris, you are raising your hand. Okay. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Akin Alabi, and I represent the good people of Egbeda Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker. I'm from Oyo State. Mr. Speaker, I'll suggest that we don't dwell too much on this because it's quite straightforward. Personally, I'm always in favor of anything that will reduce the cost of governance. There's no doubt in the fact that there's been a proliferation of different agencies. There's no doubt in the fact that different agencies are doing virtually the same jobs, the same duties. So while we are on this matter, the most logical thing, because this session is just to look at the merits and demerits, not for us to actually decide on the bill. It should be read the second time. Let's go for public hearing. Let's see what the public thinks. Let's see what the different stakeholders think. And by then, we'll be able to know whether it's going to go forward or it's going to be killed. Mr. Speaker, that's my submission. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I remain Henry Wauba, representing the enterprising people of Mbitoli Kedu Federal Constituency. My dear colleagues, I'm from Imo State. Mr. Speaker, regardless of the contribution that I'm about to make right now, I think it may, at the end of the day, be auspicious to take this decision at the level of the public hearing that has been proposed. However, I would like to just state on record that there is a benefit to having the Sovereign Wealth Fund, and there must have been a reason why Nigeria decided to save for the rainy day. There will be arguments about which countries are currently running this model and all that, But I also know that in California, for instance, which is just one of the states in the United States, CAIPAS, which is their sovereign wealth fund, the size of the fund is as big as yes, it is state, like I have said, but the reason behind a country saving for the rainy day is one of the considerations that we need to put on the table as we take this debate to public hearing. I just felt it was important that we look at the merits and the demerits, because I believe there are merits for us as a country to have a sovereign wealth fund. I so submit. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Siaka, I'll get back to you. Honorable Siaka, sir, first. I'll get back to you. I'll come.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Distinguished honorable members, I'm Honorable Ibrahim Ayokunle Isiaka. I represent the very good people of Ifo, Eweko Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Ogun State. Unlike me, I probably may be the lone voice against this bill, but I want to place it on record that the little that I know of the Sovereign Investment Fund, it was a creation of this same parliament to serve some certain peculiar purposes in the country. The question is the purpose for establishing it being met? Yes or no? Have we evaluated their KPI, as in the key performance and the indicators? Yes or no? Instead of us getting in a hurry to repeal and merge them with another ministry, because if the ministry has been well established, it's possible for them to do this job, there will never have been any need to establish this National Sovereign Investment Fund. The little that I know from the Committee on Works and Housing, which this very agency is answerable to, as at date, they have not found them wanting. And we all know the challenges we have in this country. We have been talking about the fact that nearly all our roads are in very state of disrepair. And this is one of the agencies that the nation is drawing money from to tackle many of these menaces that we have in the country. Now, shooting them down by merging them to a ministry that is saddled with the responsibility of financing the economy of the country. Personally, Mr. Speaker, I don't see any merit in that. And I want to appeal. Already, this same House had constituted an ad hoc committee to look at the activities of all these agencies and the parastatals. I'm not saying that a motion can shut down a bill, but the outcome of that committee can as well give us insight into whether we are going to merge them, not even to be in a hurry to merge them with the Ministry of Finance. There are so many other ministries that they can be more functional than Ministry of Finance. If they are for works and purposes, the Ministry of Works is even there. So that's my take. And Mr. Speaker, I don't want us to give this agency a terminal death all of a sudden. I so submit, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Linda.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm Linda Chuba-Igbiazu, member representing the National and South Federal Constituency from Anambra State. Mr. Speaker, my brother, Honorable Woloke, actually made a reference to Section 162 of the Constitution. 162, yeah. Yeah, that it offended it. But when you look at 162, 3, and 4, you find out that because National Assembly actually set up this fund, it doesn't offend 162. If you read 162 sub 3 and 4. Now, that's not to say that we can't repeal, but what I'm saying doesn't offend it. But I think it's important for us to look at the intentment behind actually making that law. I don't support proliferation of duties and all of that. I actually support the Civil Rights report that you can't have too many people doing the same thing. I support that, but I think it's very important that we look at it, look at the intentment, because if we don't look at the intentment and understand why it was set up in the first instance, then we're going to take a decision that might not be favorable, because this has in its wisdom looked at the situation and set up this fund. So if we are going to repeal it, it's important that it's not like carte blanche, that it's gone to second reading, of course it will come back and it will pass. It's very important that we look at the fine lines when we actually pass our bills. So in doing that, so I don't even know if I'm supporting it, but my point is, yeah, I don't even know if I'm supporting it because he's my brother. I don't like to go against him, but I think it's important.
I thought the rules of engagement is that you're either supporting the bill or you're speaking against the bill.
You know, so I think maybe an amendment of it might be better. I don't support a repeal. No, I don't support a repeal of this act. I think it's important to look at it and maybe have an amendment as opposed to repealing it and transferring the funds to the ministry. I don't support that aspect, Mr. Speaker. My brother, I'm in between now.
Yes, Samson.
Honorable colleagues, Samson Oko, represent Odu Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, well, first of all, I want to say that no country lives without savings. If you look at the intent of this National Sovereign Fund, is for the country to make some savings for the purpose of the rainy days. And I believe here, looking at what my brother seek to repeal here, I'm discussing on the general principles of the bill, because I know that the bill will go for public hearing. And at that time,
if it passes.
If it passes, well, I believe so. I'm not trying to work against the bill entirety, but I am saying that the subjective, because the bill is going to go for public hearing, at that time we will know the intent and the purpose of this National Sovereign Wealth Fund. The Ministry of Finance is not doing the same job with the National Sovereign Fund, because even look at the section 162 that my brother quoted. You see, the purpose of that section was to bring all monies together. But if you look at where my sister Lady has just talked about, this National Sovereign Fund is a creation of a National Assembly. So I believe that the agency is in tandem with the National Assembly. But what I will say here is that I'm not totally against the bill, but transferring the assets and everything to the Ministry of Finance, that is where I'm against. But since the bill is going for second reading, I think it should be subject to the public scrutiny.
Why are you just trying to be political? Speak your mind, guys. Oboga.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. My name is Right Honorable Sylvester Obaga, I represent Abakaliki Federal Constituency. I'm from Ebonyi State. Mr. Speaker, I have the brief of the presenter of this bill. And the first thing I did was to get the reasons for the repeal. And the question to myself, is that enough for us as a member of National Assembly to fight against our own bill, our own act? And he said in number two of the reasons for the repeal, he said refusal to submit to the audit by the Office of Auditor General of the Federation. You get to number 3. And this refusal to submit to the jurisdiction of the National Assembly and to the Public Account Committee. If you look at all this, there are other ways and means of bringing agencies to book, and not by repealing the act that established those agencies. So I will advise my brother
To go for amendment.
of this act instead of repeal, because the ministry and this institute.
If I may ask, is there in the provision where it is provided in the act establishing the agency, precluding them from submitting themselves to public accounts, or precluding them from submitting themselves their own books of records? Is there any space in the act?
So, Mr. Speaker, my submission is that if my brother will understand the mood.
No, I'm asking this because an agency not submitting themselves to accountability.
But not submitting the report to Committee on Public Account does not warrant the repeal of that act. Rather, there are other ways and means provided by National Assembly to bring agencies who do not submit public accounts, audit account of the agencies to book, instead of repealing the act. So that is my submission, and I say should go for either those provisions or call for amendment of the act if the provisions does not stipulate for punishment.
Thank you. Honorable Dawu, you still have time for a reply. Honorable Dawu.
Mr. Speaker, let me take a different route. I rise to oppose the reading of this bill for a second time because of the fact of the matter. There's clear differences between the operations of Federal Ministry of Finance Incorporated and Nigerian Sovereign Trust Fund. And if it is because of what my honorable colleague said, that my very good friend bring this bill, then there's much to be desired, and we should be better than this. And what are the objectives for establishing this sovereign trust fund? It's for the rainy days. Wherever they have gone, they have been found wanting, they should be punished, but not by repealing the act. So I hereby say that this bill should not be read for the second time. I shall submit.
Well, comrades, how many comrades do we have? Authentic one. Authentic comrade. Executive comrade. Okay, I'm talking to authentic comrade. No, they say you are executive comrade. Deputy leader, allow my brother, Chairman Environment.
Thank you, my respected speaker and respected colleagues. I am Johnson Egwahide Okuma. I represent the Federal Constituency. I am from Edo State. I want to first and foremost thank the mover of this motion and his honorable member I respect so well. Which party? But Mr. Speaker, I want to say that I know my leader is an accountant and a fellow. If there's anything more than fellow, I think he bears all the titles. But I'm an economist. From the viewpoint of an accountant, the viewpoint of an accountant may be different from the viewpoint of an economist. That is why in some theories in economics, there is something you talk about, I equal to S, that is savings equal to investment. And I want to say that the wisdom of this house considered this sovereign welfare. They consider it very, very apt at that time, which is still very, very important at this very material time. Because even as a father, if you earn 100 naira, you eat up the 100 naira. It means that you will be exposed to so many dangers, unforeseen contingencies. The spirit and manner and the wisdom of this house to have come up with this act was to save Nigeria from embarrassment. If we can think back, not too long ago when this government came in, there were almost 20 states in this country that were insurgents. What I mean by that they were bankrupt. But if there was no issue, if there was no act like this, so many of them today will be talking about merger, or Nigeria will be called a failed state. I am saying, if this act, if we have discovered that there is a way we need to amend it, to fortify it, to follow up with the spirit with which it was enacted, I think that is the one we need to address. Because otherwise, what is the guarantee that the finance ministry that is saddled with fiscal responsibility, that is not even living up to expectation, will be carried, we will now move over this problem we are already having, which is overwhelming us. Either because the people that are running or implementing the act are not doing well, we only need to fortify them, not to carry this problem and now merge it with the finance house. I mean a finance ministry that even you and I will agree that what is happening there, we are not too comfortable. So please, let us tread gently and let us look into this act and see how we can amend it and make it to be reporting, even if it's to public account for scrutiny. But repealing and merging it with Federal Ministry of Finance, I think for me, count me out, and it's not a solution. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Chairman, information.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Adebo Mishegun is my name. I represent the good people of Surulere Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, honestly speaking, considering this bill for the National Assembly must be a very, very serious matter. And I want to seek the indulgence of Mr. Speaker, if possible, to step this bill down for a while, for more consultation on this bill, and if possible, to evaluate so far what this agency have done so far. Because I believe when we are coming up with this bill, is for the purpose, and the purpose was to save for the rainy days, and to save and invest. And I believe the purpose of the National Assembly to carry out our oversight is to give us the committee in charge to give us the report so far on this agency. How far have they able to deliver to the expectation of the nation? If yes, then that power of the National Assembly to amend the law, to amend the Constitution, we can still make use of it to amend the Constitution to accommodate this agency. Moreover, if it is not really performed their duty, the reason why it is established, then we have no option. But we must have the fact and figure of the evaluation report before we can go further on this bill. Mr. Speaker, I so submit.
On Deputy Leader, Executive Comrade.
Mr. Speaker, actually, I think my brother spoke before the last speaker actually, elucidated very much on the issue from the angle, which I look at it. Sovereign wealth fund is actually very essential for any country. Today, the richest and the most powerful sovereign wealth fund is that of Norway. What is going on in Ukraine just now? You see a lot of countries responding, but the one single fund that has responded is the sovereign wealth fund of Norway. As powerful as it is, Nigerian sovereign wealth fund can become as powerful as that. So, for me, I think we should look at ways to strengthen the sovereign wealth fund, guarantee its independence, and ensure that whatever that the sovereign wealth fund is doing wrong is corrected by using our oversight function very properly. If we need to invite them, they can be invited. But a predatory takeover of the sovereign wealth fund will be inimical to the economy of Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, we have seen several attempts at predatory takeover of agencies of government, irrespective of whether they are functioning or not. This must be avoided. But as it stands now, in conclusion, Mr. Speaker, I want to appeal, just like the last speaker, that we give opportunity for the Nigerian people to make contribution to this very important debate by allowing the bill to be presented before the Nigerian people with the contributions that we have made in the House, so that they will be the final arbiter on this particular issue, as important as it is.
Thank you. Chris, then I will allow the leader, then you will cap it up. We'll put, and then we'll allow him to his right of reply, then we'll put the question.
Thank you, the Right Honorable Speaker, my respected colleagues. I am Honorable Engineer Chris Emeka Azubol. I represent the good people of Nnewi North, Nnewi South, and the Ekusigo Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to make a contribution towards the second reading of this bill to appeal with my brother, Honorable Waleoke, that it is in the greater interest of our nation so that we don't project and portray Nigeria in a light that is not acceptable internationally. Sovereign wealth fund as an institution has been involved in sourcing funds, in investment globally, and a lot of people have had some trust to do business with Nigeria based on that. We will align sovereign wealth fund like LNG, where government trying to do business, try to separate herself from it. There are things we call state-owned enterprise, government-owned enterprise. Sovereign wealth fund is in that light, like LNG. The direct involvement of government in the day-to-day running of it is limited because they take initiatives. Government can own a percentage, other people can have stakes. Like what was mentioned in the lead, that we can transfer the assets of Federal Ministry of Finance Incorporated into sovereign wealth fund or sovereign wealth fund into Federal Ministry of Finance Incorporated. What we are looking at is to weigh, like my colleague said here, let us step down this bill for now, do further consultation, engage. I realize that one of the key things that we are bone of contention here is that the agency does not do proper report and recourse to National Assembly. We as a body and the National Assembly are insisting that going forward, we will give them a chance to come and explain to us what they are doing, because you can't throw away a baby with the bathwater. Let us give a chance to the agency to come. We will take it more serious and invite the agency to come. Let us see what they are doing and why they are doing. If there are things we need to amend in the act to make them to be more responsible to National Assembly, we will do that. Than repealing it and putting it in the ballot. Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, My name is Mohamed Tahir Munguno. I represent Marte Munguno Ngenzei, Federal Constituency of Borno State. I am one of those that are strongly advocating for the repeal of this law. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, laws, logics, and reasoning, no matter how beautifully couched, no matter how beautifully presented, cannot take the place of law. Talk less of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which is the grand norm of the land. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, all these examples given of other jurisdictions, our Constitution is different from the Constitution of other jurisdictions.
Sorry, sir. You are a lawyer. I think you need to guide us properly. The section that we're talking about is about generation of funds. After generation of funds, in terms of disbursement, it cannot be in one account. So I disagree with you.
Honorable, Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I'm entitled to my opinion.
Opinion in terms of generation of funds. We are speaking, I think we should give out correct information. That particular section says all monies shall be paid into consolidated funds. You're talking about revenue, but we are not talking about when you are disposing money for various agencies that are creations of National Assembly. It cannot remain in one form. Let's be clear.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. At this point in time, I hope Mr. Speaker will not descend into the arena.
I'm just to direct you, and then to direct the House. It's part of the schedule of the Speaker to direct debate appropriately.
Thank you. Well guided, but Mr. Speaker, I am still entitled to my opinion. Let me air my own opinion. Mr. Speaker, as I said earlier on, logics and reasoning, no matter how beautifully presented, will not take the place of law. The Constitution is the grand norm of the land, and any law that is inconsistent with the provision of the Constitution is null and void to the extent of its inconsistency. Mr. Speaker, with regard to the argument that this law was made by the National Assembly, yes, under Section 4 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, the National Assembly is empowered to make law. But society is dynamic. Laws are supposed to be a replica of the wishes and aspirations of the people at any given point in time. Laws are supposed to be in tandem with the objective and subjective realities of society at any given point in time. Laws are supposed to be autonomous. So at any given point in time, when a law is not in tandem with the replica of the society at any given point in time, that law is subject to either repeal or enactment, or even a reenactment or amendment. So there is nothing wrong with the National Assembly observing a lacuna or something that is deficient with a law that it has made earlier on to revert itself because of the objective and subjective realities of the society that is prevalent now. So, Mr. Speaker, against this backdrop, I second the second reading of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. No. I've earlier on recognized Toby, and I said after Toby, I will give you the opportunity to write a reply. Then we'll put the question.
His explanation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, this bill seeks to repeal the Sovereign Wealth Fund. And the reason detailed behind this is the refusal to submit to the jurisdiction of National Assembly and to the Public Accounts Committee. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I represent an area of Ogoji River Federal Constituency and I'm from Enugu State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, our operation as an arm of government is very clear, and it is enabled by provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic. And one or many of our powers are also derived from Section 8180 regarding the capacity, the power, unrestricted, for this parliament to summon any single person on earth in this federation in order to gather any evidence, any facts regarding the responsibilities it has to discharge. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I have, as Chairman House Committee on Works in the 8th Assembly, interacted with various agencies of government, including the Sovereign Wealth Fund. And they were, on that score, summoned alongside various other agencies of government. And they came, and that was regard to Second Niger Bridge, Abuja Kano, and Lagos Ibadan Expressway. Those are the only 3 projects, Mr. Speaker, that are guaranteed to be completed in this country. Certain, because that agency is handling it. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, what we are looking for in Sokoto is in our Sokoto. That we have refused, ignored, or decided not to activate our power is another matter, Mr. Speaker. But I believe that if for any reason an agency of government is culpable in neglecting or ignoring to appear before Parliament, they should face the sanctions, including the head of that agency, because inherent and as per provisions of law, the chairman of the committee, acting in concert with the presiding officers of the leadership, can summon them, and they can also subject them to contempt if they offended. Fine, the chief whip might be arguing, he might be correct or wrong in saying that it offends the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, it does not. And if it does, it's not within the realm of the powers of Parliament to interpret the law. We can go to court and get it settled. These are matters of procedure and fact. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, this agency is engaged in various ways in doing so many, and this Parliament was responsible and particular in making sure that these projects I have mentioned are going to be completed. If we have engaged them in the past, we can also engage them presently. And I will plead and request and ask our able Chairman House Committee on Public Accounts, who is a veteran, who has at various times been in charge of defense, in charge of various committees of the House, and is properly tutored on how to activate these powers. So I will ask and plead with him that look, this Parliament cannot and ordinarily be a busybody. Going to second reading on this matter will just be wasting, subjecting our man hours to
Thank you, sir.
Alternative.
Right of reply.
I would say
right of reply, then we put the question.
I will advise that he withdraws it. Thank you very much.
Point of order. What is the point of order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Which order? Tell us the order.
Distinguished honorable colleagues, I remain Honorable Sir Nicholas Osai, and I represent the good people of Ndokwa Kwani Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker has given me legitimacy to raise this point of order by the main fact that he has observed. Mr. Speaker, order constitutional. Constitutional. Section 4 and item 67 of the exclusive list of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, upon which the National Assembly, Mr. Speaker, enacted this law. Now, in enacting the law, the National Assembly looked at Section 4, which confer power on the National Assembly to make law. 2, item 67, any other matter with respect to which the National Assembly has power to make laws in accordance with the provision of the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, Honorable Toby Okechukwu raised very salient issues which are fundamental. Mr. Speaker, he raised first of all Section 88 and 89, upon which the National Assembly has power to summon. Why I say so, Mr. Speaker? I'm coming.
Please, don't use point of order to debate.
No, I'm coming, sir.
Cite point of order to bring us to order where we are going astray.
That's the essence of veterans in the field. That's the essence of veterans in the field, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Speaker,
thank you. We have gotten a point of order. Thank you. and it's noted. Thank you.
Thank you, my leader, the Right Honorable Speaker. My fellow colleagues, I love this kind of situation where we bring forth contemporary issues that are raising opinion, submissions from both sides. But Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to submit before Nigerians and this chamber that the issue of appearing before relevance committee of the House is not the issue, it's not the main issue, it's petty. It's petty, Mr. Speaker. The issue at the front burner here, Mr. Speaker, is constitutionalism. The issue before this parliament, and today, I don't mind either way it goes, but sir, Mr. Speaker, sir, the issue before Nigerians is that the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Section 162, is being violated. Mr. Speaker, sir, and if with your permission,
can you quote the relevant section?
Sir?
Quote it for us.
Excuse me, sir. I promise, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, the summary of Section 162, sir.
No, read it for us.
Okay, lovely. Lovely, sir. Public revenue, sir, Mr. Speaker. The Federation collected by the government of the Federation, except the proceeds from the personal income tax of the personnel of the armed forces of the Federation, the Nigerian Police Force, the Ministry of or Department of Government charged with responsibility of foreign affairs, and residents of the Federal Republic of Territory Abuja. 2, Mr. Speaker, the President, upon the receipt of advice from the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, shall table before the National Assembly, Mr. Speaker, proposals for revenue allocation from the Federation account, and in determining the formula, the National Assembly shall take into account the allocation principles, especially those of population, equality of states, internal revenue generation, land mass, terrain, as well as population density, provided that the principle of derivation shall be constantly reflected in any approved formula as being not less than 13% of the revenue accruing to the Federation account, to the Federation of account directly from any natural resources. 3, any amount standing in the credit of the Federation account, Mr. Speaker, shall be distributed among the federal and state government and the local government councils in each state on such terms
and in such manner as may be prescribed by the National Assembly, Mr. Speaker.
If I may ask, sir, and this was my argument and trying to guide the House when Mongulu was trying to make reference to this place. And I give you an example. We have investment in NLG. We have investment now in NNPC. The money will first get to NNPC before now they remit into the federation account. And there's nothing offensive as far as I'm concerned. And that's why I'm saying we should not.
Mr. Speaker, sir, let me land, sir. Let me land, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me land. Mr. Speaker, let me land, Mr. Speaker. I seek your protection, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, NNG. Is NNG a creation of the National Assembly? Yes. Is NNG a creation of the National Assembly?
The father of NNG is.
Yes.
NNPC.
Sir, excuse me, sir. Sir, excuse me, sir. NNPC is a body in law. Is a body in law put in place by this parliament who has the right to invest, and they're brought into PP arrangement.
Thank you. I need to allow you to conclude your submission so that we conclude the question.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, the point I'm making is this: that pursuant to Section 4 that my colleague refers to empowers the parliament to make laws. Mr. Speaker, I submitted earlier, Mr. Speaker, sir, that through robust legislative activities, that the parliament can.
Silence, please. Silence, please. On the bench, can you take a seat? Silence, please.
Mr. Speaker, that the parliament can observe, just like Supreme Court of the land, when they discover that they have made a mistake in the ruling, they can reverse themselves. The parliament under Section 4, where we observe lacuna, we have the power to reverse, to repeal, through amendment or repeal. Mr. Speaker, the bottom line I'm saying here, Nigeria, is that the funds in the covers of Foreign Investment Authority are funds that belong to my state, my local government, and my parliament in the state has power to appropriate such funds. They can also invest if they want to make investment. Not an autonomous body in Abuja making investment on our behalf, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, referring to the issue of public accounts, this body has never appeared before our appropriation committee. It has never appeared before even finance. Do you appropriate for them? We have never appropriated for them. The parliament has never appropriated for this body. It's an illegal body, Mr. Speaker. I so submit. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The question now, the bill be read second time. Those in favor say aye. Against say nay. The nays have it. Respected colleagues, the 10th order of the day is commencement of the general principle of the bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal College of Nursing and Midwifery, Kebbi State, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable A. Kaoji. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 30 November 2021. I now invite Honorable Kaoji to move that the bill be read the second time.
It looks somehow we should kill it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My respected colleagues, my name is Honorable Bello Kaoje. Mr. Speaker, my respected colleagues, I represent the good people of Bagudo and Suru Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Kebbi State. I rise to move a bill for an act to provide for establishment of Federal College of Nursing and Midwifery, Kebbi State, and for related matters, HB 1751. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Bargaja, you know in your proper regalia.
Mr. Speaker, my respected honorable colleague, my name is Honorable Bargaja, the Shitima of Gober, member presenting
Isa Salmon Federal Concern from Sokoto State. I read to second the motion heavily moved by Honorable County. Mr. Speaker, I also second. Thank you.
The question now is that the bill be read second time. Those in favor say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. The clerk is invited to read the long title for the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to provide for establishment of Federal College of Nursing and Midwifery, Kebbi State, and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to Committee on Health Institutions. Okay. The Speaker, the 12th order of the day is commencement of debate on general principle of Bill for an act. The 11th order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of Bill for an act to provide the legal framework to establish Federal Medical Center, Akugo, Nkanu West, Enugu State, and for this matter, standing in the name of Nolin Naji, honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 28th January 2022, and I invite Naji to move that the bill be read second time.
Mr. Speaker. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, my name is Nolim Naji. I represent in Kano East West Federal Constituency. I'm from Enugu State. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that a bill for an act to provide the legal framework to establish Federal Medical Center, Abu Kano West, Enugu State, and for related matters, HP 1098 be read for second time. I so move.
Where is the money to fund that?
Yes, sir. I recognize.
I will talk. No, not talk.
Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I am Chinyere Igwe, PhD. Mr. Speaker, I represent Port Harcourt 2 Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from Rivers State, the treasure base of Nigeria. The source with which the money to fund this establishment will come to play. I therefore second it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Respected colleagues, the question now is that the bill is content. Those in favor say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. Clerk is invited to read the title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to provide the legal framework to establish Federal Medical Center, Akugo, Kano West, Enugu State, and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to Committee on Health Institutions. Respected colleagues, the 12th order of the day is commencement of debate on general principle of a bill for an act to establish Federal College of Nursing and Midwifery, Ahiazu, Ezinhe, Tete, Mbase, Imo State, and for this participating in the name of Chinedu Emeka Martins. Honorable Martins is invited to move that the bill be read second time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Emeka Chinedu. I represent the good people of Ayazun Bisen, Ezi, the Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Imo State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that a bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Nursing and Midwifery, Ayazun Bisen, Imo State, and for related matters, HB 1482, be read the second time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, sir. The Chief.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Okwodele Christopher Ezewanko is my name. I speak for Rumba North, Rumba South Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker, from Anambra State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the bill raised by Honorable Chedu Emeka. So second.
Now is that the bill be read the second time. Those in favor say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. Clerk is invited to do long touch with the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to establish Federal College of Nursing and Midwifery, Ahiazu, Ezinihitemba, Seimo State, and for related matters, second reading.
Bill referred to Committee on Health Institutions. The Speaker of the 13th order of the day is commencement debate on the general principle of Bill for an Act to regulate international studies for wards and children of Nigerian public officers to strengthen indigenous institutions, provide efficient educational services for national development and for related matters. Standing in the name of Honorable Sergius Ogun, all members will call the bill that was read the first time on Tuesday, 27 May 2021. I invite Honorable Ogun to move that the bill be read second time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my highly esteemed colleagues. I'm Sergius Ose Ogun. I represent Esan Northeast, Esan Southeast, and I'm from Edo State.
Honorable Fago, go back to your seat. Honorable Fago.
I rise to move that the bill for an act to regulate international studies for wards and children of Nigerian public officers to strengthen indigenous institutions, provide efficient educational services for national development and for related matters, HB 448, be read the second time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Bagos.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Right honorable colleagues, I am Dachu Musa Bagos, representing the good, great people of Jos South, Jos East Federal Constituency, from the peaceful state of Plateau. I rise to second for the second reading of the bill as moved by Honorable Sergius. I so move.
Sergius, lead the debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, I'm Sergius Ose Ogun. I represent Esan Northeast, Esan Southeast.
Honorable Aviation.
And I'm from Edo State.
Chairman Aviation.
Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Aviation, come back to your seat.
Honorable colleagues, I have the honor to lead the debate. Mr. Speaker, I crave your indulgence to read from what I've written here. I have the honor to lead the debate in support of a bill for an act to regulate international studies for wards and children of Nigerian public officers so as to strengthen indigenous institutions to provide efficient educational services for national development. Mr. Speaker, the structure of this bill is I have 11 clauses here. Clause 1 contains the objectives of the bill. Clause 2 provides for the upgrading of public schools in Nigeria. Clause 3(6) for the sensitization of public officers. Clause 4 provides that international studies shall be with leave. Clause 5 provides for the making of a declaration of means by the public officer. Clause 6 outlines the documents to accommodate the application for leave. Clause 7 provides for verification of the declaration made. Clause 8 states how the applicant is to be informed of the decision taken in respect of his application. Clause 9 enshrines the offenses and penalties under this bill. Clause 10 encapsulates the interpretation section, while Clause 11 houses the citation section of the bill. Objectives of the bill. The objectives of this bill are, among other things, listed below. Strengthen our educational institutions to meet global standards. boost the economy by reducing cash flight and foreign exchange, reduce brain drain and institute good welfare conditions for indigenous academics, experts and professionals based abroad to come back home and develop their country with their skills and expertise. 4, build a better society by developing formidable educational institutions. Background of the bill. Mr. Speaker, my highly esteemed colleagues, this bill is proposed against the background of falling standards of our educational system and the need to bring the sector up to speed with global best standards. Unfortunately, as a result of the inability of government to provide quality education in these public educational institutions, Nigerians have resorted to private schools and foreign schools for their education. The United Kingdom, United States, Ukraine, Ghana, Malaysia, Egypt, and South Africa, just to mention a few, have become choice destinations for Nigerians in search of quality education. Apart from that, a public officer who doesn't utilize public institutions will be indifferent about their well-being. There's also the worry that so much of our resources are being expended in foreign institutions. For instance, reports shows that Ghana alone gets up to 160 billion naira of Nigerian students' funds, while the United Kingdom gets about 80 billion naira from Nigerian students. More than 75,000 Nigerians are reported to be studying in Ghana, paying well over $1 billion USD annually for tuition fees and upkeep. Most of these foreign students are children, world of public servants and political office holders who ostensibly cut away public funds to a private use. For private use. It is against this background that this bill is proposed to regulate this trend and position our educational system for global competitiveness. Merits of the bill is regulatory and not discriminatory. The bill does not prevent public officers or private citizens from sending their children/wards for studies abroad. It only seeks to ensure that a public officer who desires to send his or her child abroad does not divert public funds to so do. Thus, such public servant must first show that he or she has the legitimate means to sponsor his or her child or ward on such foreign education. Developmental benefit. The bill will help in fostering the development of our educational institutions as it will instill accountability and seriousness into public servants at all levels who are saddled with the responsibility of implementing the policies and programs of government. Economic benefit. The bill will, when enacted, will help to redirect the huge funds that flies out to other countries into the relevant sectors of our economy. It will bring about better facilities in our national life. Policy implementation. This bill will, when passed into law, will foster the fight against corruption, which is one of the cardinal policies of this current administration. Fundamental rights. This bill does not infringe on the rights to family and private life, as well as other fundamental rights enshrined in the Constitution. The bill only seeks to regulate the practice of public servants sending their children/wards abroad for studies, while neglecting the development of our indigenous educational institutions. Present-day challenges. Mr. Speaker, I will skip that as we know no need to start talking about where ASU is right now. In concluding this, Mr. Speaker, my highly esteemed colleagues, permit me to close with the remark of Right Honorable Raila Odinga, former Prime Minister of the Republic of Kenya, that I quote, each year nearly 15 million people die in Africa from causes that have their roots in poverty. To heal that scar requires sound, selfless and moral political leadership. We need inspirational and visionary leadership that would perform effectively and deliver for the people. End of quote. So, Mr. Speaker, my highly esteemed colleagues, I humbly call upon the honorable colleagues to rise up and provide the needed sound, selfless and moral political leadership. I want to give thank you, Mr. Speaker, for your cooperation in supporting the bills that are geared towards national development and institution building. I do solicit for your collective support in passing this bill into law. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Anybody wants to speak against? Minority Leader, Deputy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I agree with the spirit of the bill, which is essentially calling on public officers to be responsive and responsible. And my own challenge essentially is within the realm that makes it look like all public officers that have their children overseas are corrupt. And they are doing so through the accessing public funds. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, you know we send a number of our officers in other jurisdictions as public servants. We have ambassadors. We have people who are in the diplomatic corps who ordinarily, in the course of their duty, will be occasioned to have their children's school overseas. Two is that, is it likely that children's schooling overseas is the reason why our educational institutions are not working effectively? We must make a distinction, Mr. Speaker and honorable colleagues, between hiring competent people who should man offices, who should be responsible, who are acting based on knowledge, as against legislating for things that may not in real sense cure the problem. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, we have code of conduct. And the code of conduct, prior to, even if you're a clerk, prior to getting into public office, you have to declare your assets. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, it is for you, for the assets you have declared, the revenue profile of those assets, it will answer the question whether you are fit and proper in sending your children overseas. So whereas, in essence, I understand the direction my colleague is going, I am a bit challenged if we will not be modeling up and this, that we may have diagnosed wrongly. Because in the past, we had our children go overseas, they come back. We also have people from other countries come to our own jurisdictions to study. And it will be good for purposes of reference, because nothing is new in this world. Which other jurisdiction has an enabling law that bans its citizens, the public officers, from going to study, including those of them that are born overseas? So my own take is that it will be good to have a knowledge-based response to this. It can as well go to second reading for a proper scrutiny, so that at the end of the day, we will be in a position to know, and there should be some statistics and correlation between, look, this is the level of corruption, this is the level of public officers who go to overseas. But if we are not in a position, including agencies of government, EFCC, ICPC and the rest, they are not able to detect corrupt public officers. I don't think we want to establish inadvertently a correlation between where you school vis-a-vis the level of corruption, so that we don't give a baptism inadvertently to what is not due. Thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I am Chinyere Igwe, PhD. Mr. Speaker, I represent Port Harcourt and I'm from River State. Mr. Speaker, it is with utmost trust and faith in the survival and growth of Nigeria that I stand to oppose this bill. Because as far as I'm concerned, Mr. Speaker, this bill offends the fundamental human rights of Nigerians, which guarantee freedom of movement. The Constitution does not specify that which movement you must make, but it gives you absolute right to move freely. So by this bill, we offended the Constitution. It therefore renders it not and void or ultra-virus. Mr. Speaker, going furthermore, as my colleague, my dear brother, my friend has posited, that the bill will ensure that our educational system is uplifted. Mr. Speaker, I want to totally disagree with that, because the public officers, as it were, that send their children abroad to go and school, all of them do not control public funds. Mr. Speaker, I stand before Nigerians to say that I do not control public funds. So if I send my children to school abroad, have I in any way done any wrong? Mr. Speaker, it is neither here nor there that because I'm a public officer, I shouldn't send my children to go and school abroad, as my colleague has posited. Mr. Speaker, we are chasing shadow. Rather, Mr. Speaker, as a nation, we should do a reassessment, a reorientation to determine what are those things that are affecting our public infrastructure in this country. It's not only education, the health sector is done, the roads are not there, the security is gone. So, Mr. Speaker, it's the fact that somebody sends his children overseas is killing the educational system, as my brother wants us to believe. Mr. Speaker, I don't agree with that. Mr. Speaker, thirdly, he has said that people or the bill will try to determine if you have the means as a public officer to send your children overseas. Mr. Speaker, my colleague has just forgotten that by the Code of Conduct Act, the only business you're supposed to do is farming, and that is constitutionally enshrined. So if we agree to that bill, it means that we are infringing the Constitution further. Mr. Speaker, I'm sure that with this few illustrations, my bill, this bill by my brother, because it's his bill, it's my bill as my brother, but it is not at the right direction now. So I will urge him to withdraw the bill. Thank you, my brothers.
Lekki, I think Osai want to save the bill. I say you would like to save the bill. No. After Lekki.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I think my colleague that has just spoken has said it all. Honorable Ogun is our friend, is our brother. The best is just to step down this bill. As he has said, it's against the human rights. It's against my own rights. Most of us, before coming here, have our children schooling abroad. So it's not maybe because we are public officers, you not see as children schooling abroad. Some have the means, apart from being in government. So if you say, because I'm now a member of House of Rep, I should go and withdraw my children from where they are schooling, and our institution here, as he has said, is not in order. Everybody wants the best. Actually, most of us here, I can say, we went to higher institution in this country when the schools were good. So I will want us to look more into how we can improve the federal institutions to help the ASU as they are struggling for the institution to be better. I think this house is doing a lot in that area. So it's just for us to beg the executives to also work in tandem with us so that the federal institution can be better the way as we want it to be. This is just what I want to contribute.
Yes, sir. Osai.
Yes, of course, me and the deputy speakers are veterans. Yes. Thank you, my good friend Sergeant Sogun. You know we respect you in this floor. Your opinions count a lot. Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, yeah, I think act of patriotism probably is trying to generate this bill, but this bill is against the Constitution in terms of discrimination. I can't be discriminated because, or my children be discriminated because I'm in position of authority. That is the issue. They have a right, to be able to be educated anywhere in the world. Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, may further this bill in section 42 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic offensive very strongly, except you amend this section, then you can be able to say you are bringing this kind of bill to the floor of the National Assembly. For this ground, Mr. Speaker, it offends it completely. It's against the ground norm. It's against the operational compass upon which all laws lay their claims in Nigeria. So if it's against the operational law, if it's against the ground norm, I think this bill should not see the light of the day.
Sergeant, you have right of reply.
So to this ground, Mr. Speaker, I call on my friend, my brother, and a colleague, and a very strong one for that matter, to just step it down.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Once again, my name is Sergius Ose Ogun. I represent Esan Northeast, Esan Southeast, and I am proudly from Edo State. Mr. Speaker, I will appreciate if my colleagues would take time to read the briefs and even the bill. Our leader here said that the code of conduct is there. You have to petition the code of conduct first. The bill here says, I will read, Mr. Speaker, that a completed form stating the name and address of the public officer, the name and age of the child or ward, his level of education, name of intended school abroad, duration of study and number of children studying abroad, then is listed the letter of appointment, bank statement of account, pay slip, declaration of assets form, sworn affidavit stating that he is financially capable of sponsoring his education. Then the minister shall review this. So what is wrong in having a regulatory authority look at these matters? Mr. Speaker, I do not really bother what we say here today. As you strike today, people are schooling everywhere. How many of us go back to our alma mater and they are still the way they are when we went to those schools? Is anybody, do we need a doctor to tell us today the state of our universities in Nigeria? How can you write a budget, the civil servant, you bring it to the National Assembly to pass it, and the executive will be the ones to implement it, and all their children are schooling outside? The last time we were debating ASU strike here, Honorable TJ here, the tape was trending, the clip was trending 2 weeks ago, that level 8 officers in the ministry have 4 children overseas. Then the NAS president said lecturers are sending their children overseas. The NUC president, chairman or executive secretary, the last time the child was graduating abroad. These are the people determining the curriculum of the Nigerian universities. Ministers and all their children are schooling abroad, and we say it's okay. 1% says it's okay, 99% says it's not okay. A little should come down to fix our institutions. That's basically what I'm saying. If we all can afford, by showing these documents, that we can send our children out, by all means do that. So why have we refused to put this document down for it to be vetted? If you have the means to send them, why is the fear there? The means is that we are not saying if anybody gets scholarship, it shouldn't go.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Speaker, no apologies to anybody. Put the question. If he passes, all well and good. If he fails, all well and good. But Nigerians are out there watching all of this.
Please, our language in the floor matters, and we should not be blackmailed, and there shouldn't be blackmail. No. It's the last word you use. The last word. Please. We have debated.
Honorable Sergius.
We can't open debate after that reply. That's procedure. I'm just trying to guide so that we can have a peaceful house and then behave like honorable members. Those in favor that the bill be second and say aye. Against say nay. The nays have it. Respected colleagues, the 14th order of the day is a motion on the consideration of outstanding bills
for the preceding assembly standing in order of Abubakar Hassan Fulata. Honorable Fulata is invited with the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I am Abubakar Hassan Fulata. I represent Berliwa Krika Samaguli Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, reconsideration of outstanding bills from the preceding assembly. National Postgraduate College of Medical Laboratory Science Establishment Bill 2019, House Bill 16, Satellite Towns Development Agency Bill 2019, House Bill 43, Chartered Institute of Tourism Professionals of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2020.
Honorable Sergeant, listen to your colleagues in silence.
897, Federal Capital Territory, Area Council Service Commission Establishment Bill 2021, House Bill 1510.
Engineer Ibrahim. Engineer Ibrahim.
To Order 12, Rule 16 of the Standing
Honorable
of the House of Representatives.
Ibrahim.
Bills passed by the Presiding Assembly and forwarded to Senate for concurrence, for which no concurrence was made or negative, or passed by the Senate and forwarded to the House of Representatives, for which no concurrence was made or negative, or which were passed by the National Assembly and forwarded to the President for assent, but for which assent or withholding thereof was not communicated before the end of the tenure of the Assembly. The House may resolve that such bills, upon being regazetted or clean copies circulated, be reconsidered in the committee of the House without being commenced de novo. Also note that the aforementioned bills were passed by the preceding Assembly and forwarded to the President for assent, but for which assent or withholding thereof was not communicated before the end of the tenure of the last Assembly. Aware that the bills were regazetted as House Bills number 16, number 43, number 897, and number 1510 respectively, and read the first time. House resolved to commit the bills to the Committee of the Whole for reconsideration. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Acting Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues. I remain Abubakar Maki Eleman. I'm from Jigawa State. I represent Madam Kauga, my federal constituency. Mr. Speaker, I raised to second the motion heavily moved by my senior colleague. I so second. Thank you, sir.
Respected colleagues, the question now, that those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That is it. The 15th order of the day is a motion on need to address the plight of displaced innocent citizens of Giwa and Binigwari, Dogom area of Kaduna State.
Honorable Sergius, you are distracting the sitting. Honorable Sergius.
Honorable Arabi is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker. My distinguished honorable colleagues, Shehu Balarabe is my name. I represent Burunjungwari Giwa Federal Constituency. Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I'm from Kaduna State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move a motion titled titled Need to Address the Flight Displaced Innocent Citizen of Giwa, Birnungwari Federal Constituency in Kaduna State. Note, the attacks, killings, and kidnapping of innocent citizens and also destruction of their properties by bandits which have taken a lawful dimension, as it is now a daily affair of Binungwari Giwa Federal Constituency of Kaduna State. Informed that the despicable activities of bandits have led the displacement of most of the communities, and also the attack by bandits are carried out both during the day and night, which resulted in the kidnapping of mostly women and children and burned down their houses. Cognizant of the need
to support over 60 communities displaced in Birnungwari local government area, in Birnungwari district, which comprises of Gayam, Magajingari 1, Magajingari 2, Magajingari 3, with over 99,792 people displaced. In Randegi district comprises of Kakangi and Randegi, over 2,650 people displaced. And in Koyello district comprises of Koyello, Dogondawa, Kazage, Tapani, and Kuteme Shuat. Over 63,983 people displaced. And also across the 42 communities in Giwa local government area. In Fatike district, comprising of Kaurampawa, Bataro, Kwanab Bataro, Ruheya, Doka, Madugu, Kanawa, Anguan Boshe, Anguan Aiba, Hayin Gazari, Karofi, Anguan Wakili, Makera, Anguan Zanguan Tama, Anguan Murtala, Anguan Doka Liman, Anguan Lelli Wat, where over 12,552 people displaced. Worried that the innocent citizens displaced in Birnungwari constituency are presently camping in dilapidated public tents, and the affected persons in Birnungwari district are camping in Magajingari 1 and Magajingari 2. Those affected in Randegi district are camping in Randegi, Kakangi, Katakaki, and those affected in Koyello district are camping in Koyello, Dogondawa, Damari, Zaria, and Funtua. While those Nyaka Wada, Aya, those exposed to them to hardship, hunger, and health epidemics. Commend the effort of Kaduna State government under the lead of His Excellency the Governor Malam Nasru Ahmed Rufai in tackling security in the state and provision of relief material to the displaced persons in Giwa Birnungwari Federal Constituency. Worried that despite the current effort of Kaduna State government, the affected persons are immensely in urgent need of attention and support in all ramifications. Resolved to urge the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management, Social Development and National Emergency Management Agency and the National Commission for Refugees, Immigrants and Internal Displaced Persons to urgently intervene by assisting innocent displaced persons with food, Medicare, clothes, shelter, financial stipend, and other relief materials. Second, mandate the Committee of Emergency and Disaster Management to preparedness to ensure compliance. Thank you. I so move, Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker. Amendment.
Amendment. Amendment. I thought we would have a seconder first before the amendment. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my leader in the House, and the respected colleagues. My name is Honorable Taufik Abimbola Ajilesoro, now representing the good people of Ife Federal Constituency in Osun State. Mr. Speaker, I'm from the source, the cradle of the world. I rise to second the motion as moved by my brother Balarabe. I so second, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Amendment. Honorable Idris.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My honorable colleagues, I remain Honorable Kabir Idris, member representing Kura, Madobi, Garumal, and Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Kano State. Mr. Speaker, my amendment here is even though he has mentioned National Emergency Management Agency to provide shelter and other stuff, but I want to make it very clear, Mr. Speaker, if they can provide IDP camps based on the numbers of all these casualties we are having in Birningwari and Giwa, so that they can be able to be settled in a particular place where the security agencies also can have access to them and provide security support for them as well. I so move, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable.
Your Excellency, Right Honorable Speaker, Musa Mohamed Fali is my name, member representing Al-Ali Kirfi. I am from Bauchi State. Right Honorable Speaker, my amendment is that this important motion, the areas that they have similar issue on that bandit and kidnapping should be included. That's my amendment, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable, did you hear the reason why you are called? You are to second the amendment moved by Honorable Kabiru. I thought you were raising a hand for that. But we can't go like that. That's not the way. So we have to have a seconder for Honorable Kabiru.
Because
thank you. Those in favor of the amendment say aye. Against say nay. That's it. Another amendment. I will take Pali before I come to the de facto comrade. The most senior comrade.
Right Honorable Speaker, to include other areas that they have same issue.
Honorable Pali, remember the motion that was brought by Mikey and then Benilal, and we did mention and pleaded with members not to water down our motions. Allow this one to pass. Those many other areas are not known to us. Please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I said, Mr. Senior Comrade, you are pointing your hand at us. I don't know whether I'm. Okay, I don't know. Thank you. So it's now clear, the horizon.
Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, I'm from Kano State, and my name is Comrade Aminu Suleiman. The amendment is not really that wide. I am wondering why the mover of the motion skipped one village in the same constituency of his, Shika. You have not mentioned Shika, and part of the displaced people have been living in my house in Kano for almost 1 year. So they needed the relief, and I will be happy if they will be. No, my friend. The village, I'm not talking of individuals now. I'm talking of a particular area. Shika, he knows the place, and I'm sure he knows the consequences of skipping this. You have to immediately make amend, otherwise the consequences will be very.
I have the live streaming is not covering that.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Shika, I need Shika to be included.
Seconder.
No.
Yes, sir, leader. That's only the amendment. That's only the amendment or another amendment. Another amendment was only the amendment.
Well, thank you, comrade, for the amendment you proposed and for helping. I appreciate you are a good Samaritan. But I want to encourage you to continue to do more. Mr. Speaker, I hereby second the amendment moved by Chairman Education.
Thank you. Those in favor of the amendment say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor of the motion as amended say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Respected colleagues, the 16th order of the day is a motion on need to construct a bridge from Ishasi in Lagos State in the Igbasel community in Ogun State, standing in the name of Honorable Jumbo Olusola. Honorable Olusola is invited to move the motion.
Mr. Speaker, it seems Honorable Jimbo is not on the floor. I move that the motion be stepped down by the leave of the House.
Motion stepped down by the leave of the House. Respected colleagues, the 17th order of the day is a motion on urgent need to strengthen the operation of the Nigerian National Park Service, standing in the name of Honorable Johnson Oguma. Honorable Oguma is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. And my fellow colleagues. I'm Honorable Johnson Oguma. I represent Etako Federal Constituency. I'm from Edo State. Mr. Speaker, my motion this afternoon is the urgent need to strengthen the operations of the Nigerian National Park Service, NNPS. The House knows that Nigeria is currently home to about 8 national parks, including Gashkia, Gumti, Ganji, Chad Basin, Yakari, Cross Rivers, Odoyo, Kamuku, and Okumu, which individually possess unique natural and biophysical characteristics. Cognizance that the parks provide iconic ecosystems and fauna for plants and animal species such as elephants, lions, hippopotamus, monkeys, wild dogs, birds, leopards, buffaloes, reptiles, hyenas, bushbuck, and bats, among others. Concerned that aside from poaching and illegal logging activities in the parks, terrorists, kidnappers, and other criminals have taken over the forest, turned the reserves to their hideouts, worried that the criminals are better equipped and trained compared to the National Park Service officers, making it difficult for the park officers to carry out their legitimate responsibilities. Cognizance of the need to ensure that the national parks are secured in order to encourage patronage and improve revenue generation, resolves to urge the federal government to embark on advanced training of personnel of Nigerian National Park Service and adequately equip the officers in order to secure the national park and other forest areas in the country. Also urge the federal government to approve the immediate employment of personnel and promotion of officers who are due for promotion in the NNPS, and also mandate the Committee on Environment to ensure compliance. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
And you are the chairman of Committee on Environment. The boss.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Mudala Umar. I represent Toro Federal Constituency from Bauchi State. I rise to second the motion moved by my chairman, environment. I so second, sir.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. I will always plead with our committees, standing committees, that those things you are praying for are within your own jurisdiction of what you are supposed to cover. What the House is supposed to receive is report of what areas you have covered and the areas that you are unable to attend to, and for you to be strengthened, not to come through motions. Please, let's be doing our duty. Respected colleagues, the 18th order of the day is a motion on urgent need to regulate the point of sale business operations in Nigeria, standing in the name of Honorable Jimo Abraham Olajide. Honorable Olajide is invited to make the motion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Jima Abdurrahim Olajide. I represent Lagos, Mainland.
Jimo, before you move your motion, I'm just looking for the head, the body of the motion. And my brother will agree with me that you cannot regulate an activity through motion. I don't know the prayers. What are the prayers? Fulata, you are not helping also. Yes, sir.
Urge the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, to, in public interest, introduce stringent regulations and guidelines, including sanctions.
It's okay. You can move your motion.
Of sale. The CBN is an established.
I say you can move your motion.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Jima Abdurrahim Olajide. I represent Lagos Mainland Federal Constituency, Lagos State. I stand to move the motion number 18 on the other paper of Thursday, 3rd March 2022. Urgent need to regulate the point of sale (POS) business operation in Nigeria. I so move, sir. Note, this House notes that the point of sale system (POS) is where customers make payment for products or services rendered, but due to many factors, the point of sale (POS) has been turned into a lucrative business in Nigeria and has provided jobs for millions of unemployed Nigerians that see it as a good alternative to white-collar job in the country. Also note, while many Nigerians are making legal money from this lucrative business, some are using it for fraudulent acts to create fake credit alerts to defraud innocent customers. Hence, the need for government intervention to rescue the rising business sector in the country. Worried that the point of sale (POS) merchants in Nigeria are not only licensed by commercial banks, other private companies are currently in the business of giving out POS for business purposes, thus making the business to be more porous and ambiguous. Concerned that presently no financial regulatory bodies in Nigeria can precisely ascertain the total number of points of sale (POS) machine and their operators in the country. Also concerned that on 21st December 2021, the Punch newspaper reported an allegation by the resident of Anocha South local government area of Delta State, alleging that the Anocha branch of Union Bank and First Bank staff deliberately sabotaged the bank automated teller machine called ATM on non-availability of cash, thus leaving customers with no choice to patronize the alleged bank staff own POS centers around the banks. Aware that in exercising the powers conferred on the Central Bank of Nigeria, Act 207 as amended, to issue guidelines, rules, and standards for financial services to the public and to ensure good conduct and management of financial system. The Central Bank of Nigeria had released ATM guidelines and regulations, which includes, among other things, that any institution operating an automated teller machine, ATM, shall file an updated list of such ATMs, including the details, location of the addresses, with the Banking and Payment System Department of the Central Bank of Nigeria for compliance and monitoring. Worried that some of the POS operators fraudulently charge exorbitant amount of money from their customers' bank accounts, while some retain vital information from customers' ATM in the course of making the financial transaction. The House therefore resolved urge the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, to, in the public interest, introduce stringent regulations and guidelines, including the sanction on the point of sale POS business operation in Nigeria. And 2, mandate the Committee on Banking and Currency to organize stakeholders meeting for the purpose of tackling the menace of the operation of the point of sale system POS in Nigeria. I so move, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Your Excellency, our Right Honorable Speaker, my noble colleagues in Parliament. I am Honorable Dr. Ajibola Muraina. I represent Ibarapa Central, Ibarapa North Federal Constituency. I'm from Oyo State. Mr. Speaker, my noble colleagues, I rise to second the motion ably moved by my friend, noble colleague, Honorable Jimoh Rahim Olajide. I so second, sir.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. Respected colleagues, the 19th order of the day is a motion on need to rescue the Federal Polytechnic Oko from erosion disaster, standing in the name of Honorable Okudili Ezenwako. Honorable Ezenwako is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Okudili Christopher Ezenwako is my name. I speak for Orumba North, Orumba South Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker, from Anambra State. Mr. Speaker, my motion is need to rescue the Federal Polytechnic Oko from erosion disaster. You all know that Anambra State ranks top among the states in Nigeria affected by erosion disaster, with the epic center running through Oko, Nanka, and agro communities. You all recall that the motion titled Need to Rescue Nanka, Oko, Obo, and Isue communities of Anambra State from erosion disaster was on December 5, 2019, moved with the consequential House resolutions duly met. You are aware that so far no visible work has been done at the affected areas, and erosion has further ravaged the communities, displacing families from their ancestral homes, as well as extended to the premises of Federal Polytechnic Oko in Orumba North local government area of Anambra State. Worried that the erosion disaster has cut off the asphalt road network within the school premises and threatens to destroy faculty buildings in the school. Disturbed that if immediate action is not taken to arrest the further degradation of the topography of the Federal Polytechnic Oko and its environs, the school could be buried in a matter of weeks. We have resolved to call on the federal government to take immediate action in tackling the erosion disaster within the Federal Polytechnic Oko and other neighboring communities in Orumba North local government area of Anambra State. or the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to urgently send relief materials to the affected communities to alleviate the people's sufferings. Mandate the Committee on the Critical Fund, Emergency and the Disaster Preparedness, the tertiary education and services to ensure compliance. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
If or she.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Thank you, respected colleagues. I remain Honorable Barrister Vincent Ekene Ofumelo. I represent the marginalized people of Oyi and IMN Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Anambra State.
Is that the name in the Constitution?
Oyi.
Did you hear that?
The late Shuba Okadibo, the then Senate President of the Federal Republic
so
of Nigeria.
If I told you are marginalized, how could you have become? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. With you,
and among the recent appointments, I know that Mr. Kadibo is in the NNPC.
Mr. Speaker, I am the part of my constituency, Mr. Speaker.
It's part of your constituency?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much. So, Mr. Speaker, I rise this afternoon to second this powerful motion. I am from Anambra State. I'm aware of the erosion control. I second the motion as moved by my colleague, Okudili Ezewanko. I so second, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, honorable colleagues.
Is there any facilitating motion? So I will now put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's it. Let's call it the 28th order of the day is a motion on need to review the privatization of Osogbo steel rolling mill standing in Oyo. Honorable Oyo is voted with the motion.
My esteemed leaders and distinguished honorable colleagues, Olubukola Oyo is my name. I speak for all the people of Irepodun, Olorunda, Urolu, Osogbo Federal Constituency. I am from Osun State, the state of the virtuous. I rise to raise the motion on the need to review the privatization of Osogbo steel rolling mill. I rise to raise this motion as an advocate of provision of employment for the teeming masses of Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, sir, the House notes that the Osogbo steel rolling mills, the Nigerian machine tools, and other national assets were sold to private investors by the administration of former President Olusegun Obasanjo through the Bureau of Public Enterprise, the BPE, chaired by the former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Regrets that since its privatization, the Osogbo steel rolling mill has remained moribund, while the Nigerian machine tools situated at Osogbo is performing below its optimal capacity. Concerned that without functional steel companies in Nigeria, the dream of manufacturing vehicles in the country and other machine equipment might be a mirage. Also concerned that the neglect of the aforementioned companies, which provided jobs for over 20,000 Nigerians, is impacting negatively on the people and the economy of the nation as a whole. Cognizant that many jobless youths will find something to do if the sales of these national assets are reviewed towards optimal utilization. Resolves to mandate the Committee on Privatization and Commercialization to investigate the process of the privatization of the Osogbo steel rolling mill and the Nigerian machine tools with a view to working out modalities to revert the privatization and restore them to full working capacity. So I move, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Maybe a quick one so that we do not meddle our own motions. If you are asking for investigation, you don't now draw conclusion. Allow the investigative aspect to fly. thereafter the committee can come out with any other recommendation that we find, and that is much better. Thank you. So seconder. Yes. No, it has been modified. The motion has been modified. You remove the aspect of the view just to investigate.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
That's why I got up. Mr. Speaker, I'm Linda Chubekwazo. Thank you for recognizing me. I actually do have an amendment, and then I will second. Second, okay. I rise to second the motion as raised by my colleague, subject to amendment. Yeah, so my...
But I think because of serious time, we just
Chairman Aviation approach the acting chief whip before seeing the speaker. Chairman Aviation, take note.
Yeah, amendment.
Okay, the amendment. Okay. My amendment reads thus.
Chairman Aviation, approach the acting chief whip. Please approach the acting chief whip before seeing the speaker. Thank you.
Mandate the Committee on Privatization and Commercialization to investigate the process of the privatization of the Oshobo Steel rolling mill and the Nigerian machine tools. That's what the amendment is.
Your name is going to be given to ethic by violating the rules.
I'm on the floor. Yeah. I think we should delete with a view to working out, because that means you've already determined what the outcome will be. So if there's going to be an investigation, that's okay, but not for you to decide.
No, investigation. Thank you. Yes, sir. Seconder. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Abdulgadim Johnson. I rise from Lagos State. I represent the good people of Oshodi Solo, Federal Constituency 2 from Lagos State. I rise to second the motion, amendment ably moved by my colleague. I so second.
Thank you. Chief Johnson. Those in favor of the amendment say aye. Against say nay. That is it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Toby Okechukwu. I represent an area of River Federal Constituency from Enugu State. Mr. Speaker, good enough, this sits well within the committee's responsibility. I will also, by extension, the Oshobo is one of the rolling mills we had. We also had Katsina, we had other ones, and then
we had Jos.
And Jos too. So, Mr. Speaker, I know that I don't know whether it's the process of award or whatever that is responsible, but there is something uncanny here regarding our rolling mills, and we cannot take off regarding industrialization if they are not fit for purpose. I will suggest that, and I will also move that we amend that the committee should do a status inquiry on all the rolling mills, including Ajokuta, Just, and the rest of them. Status inquiry on them and report back to the House within 4 weeks. And so, move.
Amendment again. Let me take the seconder for this one. Honorable Jega. I thought status inquiry would have covered the entirety of whatever amendment will come of the entire process. Except, I don't know. Yes, Ajeda?
Honorable colleague, I rise to second the amendment ably moved by my honorable colleague. I also can.
In favor of the amendment, say aye. Those in favor of the amendment, say aye. Against say nay. That's the amendment. Solomon, engineer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My very distinguished colleagues, Engineer Solomon Maren is my name, FNSC, and I represent the people of Mangu Bokos. I'm from Plateau State. Mr. Speaker, I thought it would only be wise if we also include the Committee on Steel to join hands with the Committee on Commercialization and Privatization, since it is a total steel matter. And I so submit, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Seconder, Honorable Blakey.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Kabej, this is my name. I represent the good people of Yagbafara constituency. I'm from Kogi State. That's the home of the steel. So I rise to second the amendment moved by my colleagues that Committee on Steel chaired by Alims be added. Thank you.
Thank you. Another person from Kogi. Those in favor of the amendment say aye. Against say nay. That's it. Those in favor of the motion as amended say aye. Against say nay. That's it. Respected colleagues, the 21st order of the day is a motion on urgent need to provide firefighting equipment in dialogues of Banjua, the federal constituency of Bauchi State, sending Honorable Masud Manu Soro. Honorable Soro is invited to the.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues. I am Mansur Manu Soro. I represent the good people of Daros of Ganjua Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from Bauchi State. I rise this afternoon to read the motion on the urgent need to provide firefighting equipment in Daros of Ganjua Federal Constituency of Bauchi State. The House notes that the primary responsibility of any government is the protection of lives and properties and the promotion of general welfare of its citizens. The House is worried about the frequent fire outbreaks in different parts of Daros of Ganjua Federal Constituency of Bauchi State, with the most devastating one occurring in Daros Market, destroying means of livelihood worth tens of millions of naira. The House is informed that fire outbreaks were area recorded in Sabu village, Kapingaladima, Buruku, among other villages in the constituency, destroying shelter and farm produce. The House is aware that Daros of Ganjua Federal Constituency geographically connects Borno and Yobe State to the neighboring states in the east, stretching to about 180 kilometers along the Bauchi-Maiduguri Federal Highway. The House is concerned about the rising cases of fire outbreaks in Daros of Ganjua Federal Constituency and auto crashes that turned to fire incidences along the Bauchi-Maiduguri Highway. The House is cognizant of the total absence of firefighting equipment along the Bauchi-Maiduguri Highway and the entire Daros of Ganjua Federal Constituency. The House resolves as follows. 1. To urge the Federal Fire Service to deploy a firefighting truck to Daros Town to protect residents and commuters flying the Bauchi-Maiduguri Federal Highway in order to avert further loss of lives and properties. 2. Also urge the Federal Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, the Northeast Development Commission, and the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to provide relief materials to the affected victims. Further urge the small and medium development enterprises, SMEDAN, to consider the victims of Darozo Market fire outbreak in the agency's 2022 activities and programs. mandate the Committee on Legislative Compliance to ensure implementation. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Linda Chubek-Biazo. I rise to second the motion as moved by Honorable Mansour Soro. I so second.
Is it committee?
Yeah, amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I'm Ejah Hababao, Chief of Lembo, Goza Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, my amendment is on the second prayer of the motion. Sorry, the third prayer of the motion. That is written here, further the small and medium is further urge. So the word urge should be there.
Okay.
Yes.
Seconder. It has failed. It will be done administratively. It will be done administratively. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Those of you who the motion say aye, against say nay. That's it. Specifically, the 22nd order of the day is consideration of a report of the Committee on Agricultural Colleges and Institutions on a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal College of Horticulture, Okigo, Imo State, and Fulton Matters. Honorable members will recall that the posts were laid on Tuesday, 8 February 2022. Honorable Monir Babada Agudi will move for his consideration.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Honorable colleagues. My name is Monir Babada Agudi. I represent Kumbu, the Federal Constituency of Kano State. I rise to move for the consideration of our report, that the House do consider the report of the Committee on Agricultural Colleges and Institutions on a bill for an act to provide for establishment of Federal College of Horticulture of Kigwe, Imo State, and for other related matters, HB 1456, and approve the recommendations therein. I so move.
Honorable Leki.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Honorable Leki Abegi, this is my name. I represent the good people of Yagba Federal Constituency and by extension, Kano State. I rise to second the motion moved by Honorable Dangudi is also my constituent from Kano. I so second.
Motion say aye. Against say nay. That's it. The next order of the day, which is second, is the constitutional report on the Committee on Health Institutions on a brief and act to repeal the Federal College of Dental Technology and Therapy Establishment Act 2017 and enact the Federal University of Health Science and Technology Enugu to make comprehensive provisions for management and administration of the university and for legal matters. Honorable members will recall that the report was laid on Wednesday, 2nd February 2022. I now invite Honorable Fulata to move that for the consideration of the report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I'm Abubakar Fulata. I represent Briniwa Krika Samaguri Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I move that the House do consider the report of the Committee on Health Institutions on a bill for an act to repeal the Federal College of Dental Technology and Therapy Establishment Act 2017 and enact the Federal University of Health Technology, Health Sciences and Technology, Enugu, to make comprehensive provision for the management and administration of the university and for related matters. HB 1604. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder. Marine.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Engineer Solomon Maren is my name, and I represent the people of Mangu Bokos from Plateau State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second that the bill do be considered at the committee of the whole as moved. I so second. Thank you.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. Move for the House to resolve the committee of the whole consider reports.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I am Abubakar Sanfulata. I represent Borneo Krika Samaguri Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I move that the House to resolve into committee of the whole to consider reports. I so move.
Yes, my brother. Jimo, I think the mic, all those who control don't want you to speak. Each time you have to speak,
Thank you.
it will be exhausting.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Jima Abdurrahim Olajide. I represent Lagos Mainland, Federal Constituency, Lagos State. I stand to second the motion as moved. Thank you.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. House is ever zoned to come to hall to consider reports.
Honorable TJ, go back to your seat. Honorable TJ.
Respected colleagues, the first report to be considered yes, sir. The first report to consider is that of the Committee on Agriculture and Institutions on a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal College of Horticulture, Okibo, Imo State, and for related matters. I now invite on Munir Agu to give the synopsis of the report.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman, Honorable colleagues. This bill has to do with agricultural education and extension services in the country, and the college, under the colleges of agricultural colleges and institutions, and it is important to have these colleges across the country so that we can continue to educate our children so that they can help in the agricultural sector. And I want to appreciate Mr. Chairman and my colleagues for considering a lot of institutions in this regard which have seen the light of the day. And I'm sure they will continue to be part of the national development in terms of agricultural activity in the country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Honorable Chairman, my noble colleagues, I remain Honorable Dr. Ajibola Muraina. I represent Ibarapa Central, Ibarapa North Federal Constituency. I'm from Oyo State. Mr. Chairman, I just want to think aloud and I want to be guided. This paragraph 4 says the college shall be supervised by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development through the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria, ARCN, who shall be responsible. My concern is that should it be who or which shall be responsible? And I think
you are a lawyer, it's which.
It's which.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
It's drafting error.
That's all, sir.
Thank you, sir. Got it? Close 2. Are you sure? Close 2. Close 3. Close 4. It should just be there. Close 3 carried. Close 4. I think here you have to do some little work. Yes, sir.
Yes, there is a mix-up in some of this. I want the House to be guided where you have education. Anything education is supposed to be agriculture. Yes, it's supposed to be agriculture, not education. So it's just a typographical error.
You still have to do a little cleaning. I've gone through the bill in actual sense. You have constitution and principal officers on page 3. From my little briefing, you have how they are appointed, but you do not have put in place how they are going to be removed. There should be removal from office. And then my other observation that I have from here, you need to, so that we do not finish the job and tomorrow they return it back to us. And I think we'll give you just this weekend for you to return back.
Yes. And let me say, Mr. Chairman, you see the bill you have promoted, the ARCN, has it been taking care of most of this? No, issues you are raising?
It is an institution, and in line with what we have been doing, in each of the appointments there must have removal. Yes. And I would give you another example. You have in another place where you mention registrar, but you do not capture in a place appointment of registrar in the bill.
Yes.
So these are areas that you need to tidy up. At times we are in a haste to present reports, not from you, because this is what is given to you, but those who are doing the drafting need to help you to turn in a very better report. And these are the little observations. I will attach to you what my small paper of what I have gone through, so that you can tidy up. But here I would like to step down. Step down further. Thank you. Further constituency step down for you to do more work. Thank you. My colleagues, the next report to consider is the report on the Committee on Health Institutions when I move to repeal the Federal College of Dental Technology and Therapy Act 2017 and enact the Federal University of Health Science Technology Enugu to make comprehensive provisions for management and administration of the university and full matter. I now invite the Honorable Flatter to give us the synopsis of the report.
Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues, this bill seeks to essentially upgrade an institution existing Federal College of Dental Technology in Enugu into a full-fledged university and broaden the course content of all that the institution can offer, from purely medical courses into social science, technology,
is it Enugu or Enugu?
Education. Enugu.
Okay.
Enugu.
I heard you mentioning a village in, I don't know whether Marian. Thank you.
So to broaden the scope of the institution from purely medical institution into university that will offer a lot of courses from medical, technology, social sciences, education, and etc. So I plead with honorable colleagues to please approve the establishment of this, the upgrade of this existing institution into a university. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Honorable Flatter. Plus 1, 2, 3, 4. Linda, you have observation? Plus 5, plus 6, plus 7. Plus 8. Plus 9, plus 10, plus 11, plus 12, plus 14, the visitor. Sorry, yes, sir. You know, they are delegated responsibility. The visitor of any tertiary institution in the actual sense is responsible. If whatever you do at the end of that periodic auditing of institutions and the rest is submitted to the visitor. Indeed, there could be recommendation for discipline, there could be recommendation for improvement of infrastructure. That's why it's captured. But they could also put a better word. It's the president. Yes.
Maybe they could have said supervision and discipline or something like that.
They will have, even if they capture the visitor and they without the other subtitle, it will have been okay. Thank you. So, I believe that was the original bill. This is an improved institution from moving it to each university, I guess so.
Yes. It was actually established by ordinance.
Okay.
In the 60s, it started from Lagos.
We have amended the constitution to take over all those other ordinance acts now to be the responsibility of the National
Exactly.
Assembly.
So it's over 50 years.
Hoping that the states will now concur with what we did some few days ago. Thank you. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23.
23. Thank you.
Jimo.
Yes, sir. Jimo Abdurrahim Olajide, Lagos Mainland, Federal Constituency, Lagos State. I'm not too clear about the clause 23 that talk about the quorum, and we are still retaining it. If I'm permitted to read, except as may be otherwise provided by statutes or by regulations, the quorum and procedure of any body or person established by this act shall be such as may be determined by that.
In the academic environment, when they are talking of quorum, they are referring to academic board.
Yes.
That's what it's saying.
But we are not making any law for them then. We are making a blanket law. That's what it is.
That is how it is if it captured. And I would refer to the Act of 1992. You will see it there explicitly spelled out.
And that cannot be amended.
It's automatic. Whatever decree that was there, with the commencement of democracy, is assumed to be in place.
Okay.
Thank you. Academicians, I have one right. Thank you. 22. 23, carried. 24. 25. 26. 27. 28. 29. Honorable Toby, guide us. Citation 29. The schedules. Explanatory memoranda. Any? I have not seen any. But you have the definition there, even though it's not specific. So these are the small work you have to do to clean well. Explanatory memoranda long title. Honorable Flatter move that will revert to plenary to report progress.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues. I am Abubakar Fulata. I represent the New Africa Sama Federal Constituency. Mr. Chairman, I'm from Jigawa State. Chairman, I move that the House will revert to plenary to report progress. I so move.
This is leadership function. That is okay. You have seen it. I thought this is votable for the.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman, honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Gideon Gwani. I come from Kaduna State. I represent Kaura Federal Constituency. Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues, I beg to second the motion that this House do go back to plenary to report progress. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's it. House is hereby to revert to plenary to report progress. My respected colleagues, the House in the Committee of the Whole consider the report of the Committee on Agricultural Colleges and Institutions on a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal College of Agriculture, Okigwe, Imo State and for related matters, HB 1456, and deferred consideration of the report. No, we approve certain clauses before deferring the remaining. No. We approve 1 to 4 and then defer further. Thank you. My respected colleagues, the House and the Committee of the Whole considered the report on the Committee on Health Institutions on a bill for an act to repeal the Federal College of Dental Technology and Therapy Establishment Act 2017 and enact the Federal University of Health Science and Technology Enugu 2021 to make comprehensive provisions for management and administration of the university and for these matters HB 1604 and approved plus 1 to 29 the schedules, the long title and the explanatory memoranda of the report. Move for the adoption of the report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I am Abubakar Safulata. I represent Brunei America, Mr. Speaker. I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, I move that the House to adopt the report of the Committee of the Whole as read out by Mr. Speaker. I so move.
Maki.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues. I am Abubakar Maki Eleman. I represent Malamuru Kaugama Federal Constituency. I'm from Jigawa State. I stand to second the motion heavily moved by my senior colleague. I so second. Thank you, sir.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's a bit. Before we move to adjournment, clerk will beg you and the bureaucracy of the National Assembly. You can see from here up to the last staff to everybody is struggling to have a good air, and the cooling system is quite not very functional. Use the weekend before Tuesday as we resume. Let there be an improvement, please. I'm begging for that. I'm all begging for that, please. I didn't hear that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I am Abubakar Safulata. I represent Beniwa, Krika Sama, Guri Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I move that the House do adjourn to Tuesday, the 8th of March, 2022. I so move.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable
Whip of the smallest group.
Yes, the whip of the minor.
Yes,
yes.
Point of order.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues.
Thank you.
Withdraw your statement.
I rise, my name is Honorable Gideon Gwani. I come from Kaduna State. I rise to second the motion that this House do adjourn until next week, 8th day of Tuesday, by 11 a.m. I so second.
You resume the largest.
Thank you. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's it. Say what did he? But that's the reality. That's the reality. It's the smallest. Minority is the smallest group here. I'm not calling it a party. I'm saying the smallest group. House is here by June to Tuesday, 11 a.m.